Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86. Here you will find everything from your favorite characters, from anime, series, or movies, such as figures, statues, trading cards, and other limited special edition items. I will show you everything that is included. For example, we will discuss the design of the box, how it's packaged, the design of the figure, the articulation points, the accessories that are included, and we will see our favorite characters in special scenes. And you never know, you might see other characters make special guest appearances, so you can decide whether it's worth getting or not. Subscribe and join me on new weekly adventures. Now let's start the show. Let's go. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Titan del 86 and today from Rocket Toys and Naruto, I present to you Kisame. This is the Kisame as he appeared in the Naruto series as well as in Naruto Shippuden. On the side of the box you have the Akatsuki symbol. In case you didn't realize it, a while back I did a Rocket Toys review for Madara Uchiha. If you haven't seen the video, I suggest you go check it out. And that was kind of what gave me the first impressions of these Rocket Toys collections. I know at that point I had pre-ordered the Kakashi and the Itachi figures, which I do have, I just haven't gotten to them yet. The other thing is, I know at this point Kisame was the next one that came out. I know the next ones that are waiting to come out are Lady Tsunade, Hinata, Akatsuki members, Deidara, and Sasori. One thing to note, my box came a little bit damaged at the bottom, so hopefully that doesn't do much to the figure itself, but we'll see. Upon removing it from the shipping box, you are greeted with another box. And this one, it's got more Akatsuki symbols, which are the clouds. I think at the bottom that says Kisame. On the side of the box it says Kisame, and then on top it's got the logo of his Akatsuki ring, which meant south. I don't remember where the naming convention came for the rings that each one of the Akatsuki members wore, so if someone in the comments can tell me. Again, it's a very plain box. They didn't do anything special here, which I think, if I remember correctly, on the Madara one, I think it came with the design of the Renegon. On the back side of the box you got some more logos, some warnings. If you look towards the top, you can see the special seal that Rocket Toys uses. Then again, on the final side of the box, you see the Akatsuki ring with the symbol south, along with Kisame's name written at the bottom. Upon removing the cover, you're greeted with the actual box that has the figure. So in this one, it's got a little bit more of a darker tone design. So if you notice, it's got the same patterns as the previous box, except this time now you have the red Akatsuki clouds that are somewhat in a 3D format. Then looking down at the bottom towards the blue, it's got the symbol for south, which is what is printed on Kisame's Akatsuki ring. On the side of the box, it has the Kisame name. Again, towards the center, you have the symbol of the Akatsuki ring that Kisame wears. Overall, the theme of the box is basically the Akatsuki cloth that they wear. On the back side of the box, you have the Naruto logo along with the Akatsuki logo, and then you have a bunch of warnings towards the mid bottom of the box. On the last side of the box, you have the Akatsuki symbol along with the Akatsuki name. Upon removing it, once again you're greeted with the giant picture of what the figure looks like. So here you have Kisame wearing the straw hat as he first appeared in Naruto. The drawing looks really good. I mean, they know how to make these figures look amazing, at least in the pictures. Once you remove that, you're greeted with the instructions, and then you can see the figure behind that. Kisame comes in 2 blister packs and a scent pack. In the first blister pack, you have Kisame, the expressions, the different hand gestures, along with the straw hat. On the second blister pack, you have the base and Samahara, both in its fully exposed form as well as in the taped up form. Then you can see that it also came with a scent pack, which is the scent of lavender, along with some tools to help you remove the eyes, and an extra set of eyes. Here's a close-up of the instructions. So the front side, as you can see, it's got the Kisame overview. So it's got a couple shots of Kisame with all the content that comes with them. On the back side, it's got the instructions of Kisame. The first one, it shows you how to swap out the hair, how to swap out the heads, how to use the tools to move the eyes around and remove the eyes. Then it shows you all the different expressions and how to swap out the hair pieces along with set of eyes that he comes with. Then it tells you how to assemble the stand. Then it shows you that it has magnets for the Akatsuki cloth and also to hold Samahara. Then you can see how to swap out the headpiece so you can wear the straw hat. Then how to attach Samahara into Kisame's hand, which you remove the skull piece. Towards the end, it shows you how to alternate between Samahara fully wrapped versus partially wrapped. And that is all for the instructions. Here's a close-up of the lavender scent pack, which is something I've never seen before, so I wonder if Rocket Toys has been doing this or when they started doing this across the figure line. But that basically described the smell when I first opened the box. It had a nice refreshment of lavender. So I think I probably want to grab this and probably throw it in the car. It's just something different, I've never seen that before. This is the 360 of Kisame straight out of the box. One of the ninja swordsmen who carries Samehara, as well as one of the Akatsuki members. For first impressions, I was surprised by the material that they used for the Akatsuki cloth. I was expecting like a cheap rugged material similar to what I saw from the Madara figure, but actually the cloth that they used is actually a good material. It doesn't feel like the cheap material that we've seen on other figures. For example, the ones that they use on Saint Seiya figures like the Pandora one or Hypnos. If you guys watch my Saint Seiya videos, there you can kind of see some of the comparisons where they use actual cloth there. Similar to the Boss Mod figures, this one is actually better than what they use as well. If you remember from the Tanjiro figures and some of the Hashiras, their clothing is not as good, but this one is. The other thing to note is it appears that it might have a little bit of a metal wire towards the bottom to help pose them. But overall, I'm really impressed with what they've done with the figure. One thing that I would have liked to have seen done better would have been the shoulder strap, which is used to hold Samehara. I think on that one they could have used some material that looks a little bit more realistic versus just a regular plastic looking piece. As you see, it kind of throws the figure off as far as realism goes. On that one, I think they could have took some hints from Hot Toys to make it a little bit more realistic like, just to simulate it. That white piece that holds the rest of Samehara together on the back, you just want to be careful with that because it can be undone. It reminds me of a bread tie strap. The other thing is I like that they gave you options with them. He's got a good range of motions and he's got a good range of accessories. You have 3 ways that you can display him with Samehara. You also have 3 ways that you can display him with the face plates, which they're really good. The other thing is you can display him with or without the straw hat. You can display him with or without the headband. So you have a bunch of combos that you could use and you have a bunch of different hand gestures. Let me know what are your thoughts on this figure. To me, the figure looks really tall and I think Kisame was one of the taller Akatsuki members next to Setsu. The other thing to note, the hair is made out of soft plastic. The other thing to note, I think this Akatsuki cloth is probably a lint magnet, so you also want to be worried about where you store it and how you treat it. And the idea is not to get the figure dirty because washing it or cleaning it is gonna suck. But overall, so far I like what I'm seeing. Follow me on IG at Titandel86. Also keep in mind why they call him one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. He is also known as the tallest Jinchuriki because Kisame is full chakra, which is why Samehara is really attracted to him. If you recall, Samehara is attracted to people with high chakra energies because it likes to absorb it and it also likes the taste of it. Samehara is one of the 7 ninja swordsman weapons that actually picks its owner. So if you recall, when Samehara refuses, whoever picks it up, it grows spikes right where the holder is. It's also one of the swords that actually has a mind of its own, which is able to return to the user. If you recall, a while back I did the statue of Kisame and Itachi, and that statue, while it had a lot of flaws and all that, the overall view looked really amazing. If you haven't checked out the video, I suggest you go check it out. It's a really good one, especially if you plan on getting that statue. But to me, this figure is a better representation of Kisame. I really like what they gave us here. Now let's check out what articulation points come with Kisame. One thing that I noticed is that you can take the Akatsuki cloth off of him, and as you can see, we can see all the joints that this figure actually has built into him. So before we really get started into the articulation points, one thing to point out is that the upper chest piece is made out of soft rubber, while everything else is hard plastic. The other thing to note is that the fabric on the pants is actually really good material. It's nice and soft, where the material that is in the forearms, that is very rugged. So those are some good points on Rocket Toys on designing this Kisame figure. So now let's get to it. He has good rotation of the head. It's got a little bit of side movement. As you can see, the neck is one piece. Because of that, there's no up or down movement. For the arms, one thing is he already has kind of like a 90-degree bend on there, so we shouldn't be able to get too much out of it. So this is as straight as the arms go, and as you can see, I already deformed one section of the traps, just trying to get the shoulders to flex on the up position. 360 of the arm. Unlike SH figure arts, he doesn't have a piece to extend the shoulders. So this is as good as the cross arms is going to come. You see that? And again, you can see the plastic on the chest band. 360 off the bicep. It is not that good. There's the elbow. Up and down on the wrist. And it comes with good 360. So that is some good articulation points there. He does have some chest movement. Full down. Full up. So that's really good. No side to side. The waist rotates. That's as high as the leg goes, which is way more than what I was expecting. I thought that the clothes was going to limit him, but I think because it's soft material fabric, and as you can see, it's kind of baggy, so it's not really tight how we seen our Hot Toys implement on their Deadpool and Captain America outfits, where it's really tight. It limits that, plus the soft outfit kind of helps with the movement here. But I can't say the same. This is as far back as the leg goes, and that is because just feeling it, he's got a cut line here from the butt, so that's preventing it from moving, as you see there. Also, this piece can move up. He's got somewhat of thigh movement. This is as far as you can do the split, and that is because he's limited by the pants. There's the knee, maximum position. He's got two sections, so this is the first section, or you can bring him for this other section. So he's got two positions and then the final position for the knee. So he's got three positions for the knee. Does not move. You get 360 off the ankles. This is as far up as it goes. This is as far down. You get inboard, outboard, and there's no toe movement. Overall, he has some really good articulating points. Obviously, they're so much better than what I saw from the Madara Uchiha figure. If you guys remember that video back from when I did it, and that was the first Rocket Toys that I did. So overall, I like these improvements, and maybe the Madara figure had these articulation points. They were just hidden by the outfit, because I don't see why they would change their strategy. This is a good one, but it's still not the best ones as far as articulations go. I think Hot Toys and obviously SH Figure Arts have better articulating points than Rocket Toys at this point, at least to what I see from this figure. And there you have it. So one thing to know, just like I was explaining, the rope does have magnet pieces in it, so you could easily pull it in and out. So the magnets are down the seam of the edge of the rope, and then the bottom section is wire, just to help you with articulating points. I think there's wire also at the end of the sleeves. I feel something, but I'm not really sure. But I know definitely for the bottom one, it does feel like there's a wire. This is the belt piece that will hold Samehara to its back. So there you could also see the magnets. So one thing to note, out of the whole figure, this is the most fragile piece that I've seen so far. This is what goes underneath Kisame, and it follows a similar pattern to the belt strap that is around his arm. So I think this is kind of what guides and sets everything in place as far as the Samehara weapon, along with the cloak and everything else in it. Just be very careful. As you can see, it's got the magnets there, and it's really thin piece of cloth, and it's really fragile. And obviously, if you're not careful enough, they snap, just like that. So be very careful. So basically, going back to the instructions, this is the piece that I'm talking about. But at the bottom, it had a rubber band that was tying it together. So I wonder if that was just to hold it in place. But anyways, I will put it back and show you. Here's a close-up of the three expressions that come with Kisame. The first one is an action yelling expression. So here you can see all the details, including the teeth and the mouth, which they look really sharp, similar to a shark's. The middle expression shows a grunting smile, and the third expression shows a bigger smile where you could actually see the teeth. So overall, I like the expressions that they give Kisame. I know in the anime he didn't use a lot of expressions other than the smiling one with a smirk. If you recall, he was very sarcastic at times, almost halfway jokingly. Overall, I like the details that they used to sculpt the faceplates of Kisame. They're really good. They did a good job at capturing the shark gills coming down the eyes, as well as his facial expressions, including the details to the teeth. Then you could also see the details that they use for the eyebrows. Here's a close-up of the base, which resembles the ring that Kisame wears with the symbol of South written in the center. Then on the front of the base, you can see the plaque that says Kisame. So this is a nice touch that they added to the figure. Hopefully we can get all the other Akatsuki members just to see all these bases come together and have all the Akatsuki rings in the base form, along with the figures, of course. So that is a nice touch that they added to the base. Here's a close-up of Samehara, both in the full bandage form and then the piece to display it outside the bandages. So this is when it's partially coming out of the bandages. So if you recall, when Kisame fights, usually he fights with it fully bandaged, but when he wants to deal some real damage to the opponent, he basically has it unravel half of the bandages so the shark skin can start coming through, making his weapon more deadlier. So I just wanted to show you a close-up so you can see the fine details on that. Here's a close-up of Samehara fully outside of the bandages. I'm really surprised that they included this in this figure, but honestly to me this is the best part of the whole figure. Just if you look at the details that they included in Samehara, they're really amazing. And this is something that we don't see in many of Kisame's portraits, in many of the other Kisame figures that I've seen. Usually Samehara is neatly wrapped in the bandages or partially. I haven't seen that many that are in its full view. So here you have it with the sharp teeth and the mouth and the tongue sticking out with the saliva dripping out. Here's a close-up details so you can see that. So there you can see the tongue along with the teeth coming out. He looks really amazing. Honestly, to me this is the best part. For this scene, I have Kisame wearing the straw hat with the smiling, grinning expression that shows the teeth. I'm not sure if the camera is going to be able to capture those details for you just because of how the Akatsuki cloth comes with the collar that covers partially of the face. This is when Kisame went to the hidden village along with Itachi to see if they could find Naruto and take the Nine Tails from him. So they snuck into the village very undercover with these Akatsuki clothes and the straw hats, which basically help hide their identities since they knew they were wanted men by the bingo books of all the ninja villages. So they didn't really want to set a ruckus when they first arrived there. To balance the figure, it wasn't that difficult once you are able to find the right footing, just because once you attach Samehara on the back of Kisame, he somewhat becomes more heavy towards the backside, especially when you look at the length of the sword. So you just want to compensate to how you distribute evenly on the weight side. Attaching the straw hat wasn't that difficult. All you have to do is open up the little pieces that are hanging off of it, and then it's got like a center ring that can be put on top of Kisame's head. So it's very easy. Then you just gotta remember to pull the tassel out. Just be careful, the straw hat does seem somewhat delicate. The straw pieces that are coming down, that is basically glued on to it. So they wore the straw hats so they wouldn't be identified quickly by the ninjas and then be attacked by them, and then they would have failed the mission. So this was one of the very first episodes where we got to see Kisame and Itachi, and we also got the introduction to the Akatsuki. Hopefully here the camera can capture the details of the Akatsuki ring. I know it's really tiny and small, but it's got the good details that we look forward to these types of figures. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. In this one, I have Kisame ready to do a ninja water style base attack. One thing to note, Samehara attaches to Kisame through magnets. So the Samehara is basically hollow for the most part. It's a very hard plastic shell that feels very hollow on the inside, but towards the base, that's where the magnets are. So that's the only position that you can attach Samehara to the back of Kisame, which is something that I like. Instead of using some attachment features or whatever, the magnets work very well here, just holding the sword in place. Similar to the Akatsuki cloth, it's all being held by magnets, which is something that I like. For a minute, I was worried that the Akatsuki cloth wouldn't be removable, similar to what we saw at the Madara Uchiha figure where the armor couldn't be taken off and all that. But in this one, I like that they gave you the ability to remove the cloth. And the other thing that helps the figure is that they give you some really good articulating points at the ankles, which is something that the Madara Uchiha figure really lacked, which made him difficult to balance or to do any poses with him. Where here Kisame overcomes all those limits, making him the better figure and actually a figure that you want to have in a collection, especially if you're after all these Akatsuki members in articulated forms, and highly detailed as well. So to me, this figure rivals some of the figures that we have seen from Hot Toys. It's not there yet, but it's getting there. And as far as the articulating points, I still think SH Figure Arts still beats it, but the details in the figures what really counts if you're going for this particular figure. Don't forget to follow me on IG at Titandel86. One thing that I've been debating on is whether I should start collecting the SH Figure Arts of the Akatsuki members from Naruto. They have similar Akatsuki clothes on them and the figures look really amazing and hardly articulated. But I'm still on the fence whether I should continue and just keep the Rocket Toy figure line of the Akatsuki members, or should I just make a full jump and start collecting the Naruto SH Figure Arts. And it would be nice to have an Akatsuki figure of SH Figure Arts compared to one of the Rocket Toy ones. The example that really comes to my mind is the Itachi one, since I have the Tachi Rocket Toys version, and right now that's the only Akatsuki figure that SH Figure Arts has that also has a Rocket Toys counterpart. So let me know in the comments what are your thoughts on that idea. This is one of the reasons why they call Kisame the monster of the hidden mist. Keep in mind he is also one of the 7 swordsmen.
Well then, I suppose I should introduce myself. Hope we can get acquainted later. The name's Kisame Hoshigaki.
On this one, I swapped out the face to the one that shows the grinting smile. So this is Kisame, the tail beast without the tail. I present to you. If you're trying to add this to the collection, I suggest you go get it. I have him here in mid-combat where he's about to do a water jutsu, and I have Samahara towards the floor. In this one, I have Samahara in the partially exposed one since he started to use it against his opponent. One thing to note, the Samahara weapon is very heavy because it's very long. Even though it's hollow, when it's fully in the bandages, it's still very heavy for the Kisame figure. So if you try to hold it with one hand, depending on the type of position that it has, odds are it's going to end up rotating the wrist towards the floor. So if you want to have Kisame in an action pose with Samaharas in a similar sword striking position, you probably will need a third feature to kind of help hold Samahara in place. Other than that, either the Samahara is going to be on his back or you're going to have to lean it on his shoulders, similar to what he does in the anime. But having it as in a sword striking position, you probably won't be able to do that unless you get a third hand feature to help you hold it. One thing to note, the section of Samahara that is fully exposed, that one is full plastic and it doesn't feel hollow like the Samahara base when it's fully wrapped up in the bandages, so it adds more weight towards the end. The other thing to note is the bandages that are coming off of the Samahara portion of it, those are soft plastic, so be very mindful of that because you don't want to break them. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on this figure. As far as articulating points go, the figure's really good at it. The one thing that I liked is that we were able to remove the Akatsuki cloth off of him, which let us really have a good look at what types of joints Rocket Toys implemented on the figure. And like I mentioned, overall, the figure has similar joints that we come to expect out of some of these figures. It's not as fully articulated as you might see from the SH Figure Arts line, but it gives me similar articulating points to the ones that we've seen from Hot Toys. The only difference is that on some of the Hot Toy figures, they started to implement the shoulder extension pieces, where on this one they didn't. And just to re-emphasize, most of the figure is made out of hard plastic, with only the chest section being the soft plastic, and that is to allow you to move the arms to any type of degree that you're looking for. Just keep in mind that you're not going to be able to get that extension coming out of the shoulders. Follow me on IG at Titandel86. But other than that, the figure has some really good articulating points, and with every other figure that we come to note, once you add articles of clothing and all that, it becomes limited. But on this one, the range of motion is still found because the Akatsuki cloth is not really tight on them and it's very loose. And I also like the type of fabric that they used on it, which is nice and soft. Just be careful because it does seem to be a lint magnet. So that is something there that they did better than what we've seen on the boss mod figures, where they add these types of coats or haoris, which they are very tight and form-fitting to the figure, which limit and kill most of the articulating joints. But in this one, the Akatsuki cloth is very loose, and because of the soft material that they pick, it doesn't really kill all the movable joints that you're looking for on this particular type of figure. So in my opinion, this Kisame figure is done way better than what they did with the Madara Uchiha figure. So now I can't wait to test out the other Rocket Toy figures that I have in the pipeline. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts. For this final scene, I took the Akatsuki cloth off of Kisame just so you could see him without it. And the same thing with Samahara. I have Samahara fully outside the bandages just so you can see it in full power, which is one of the 7 ninja weapons. And you can see the tongue coming out of Samahara's mouth. And just look at the details of the tongue and the teeth, they're really amazing. One thing to note, honestly, I thought that Kisame's body would be a little bit more muscular than what is shown here. Here he seems to be very slim fit, like he's been keeping his body fat very low. Compared to how he appeared in the anime, to me he appeared like he was more bulkier. Not like a bodybuilder, but he did have a decent size on his muscles, to the point where he looked buffed, unlike what you see here. Here he just looks like he eats well and he's very slim. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. One thing to note, this Samahara is very heavy. Even though it's molded plastic, the design on it is very good. I really like the details on it, and you can see how the light is being reflected off. But to get this scene to work, I had to get a third point just to hold the rest of Samahara. One half of it is being held by Kisame and the other half is being held by the stand. Which you could do this, you just have to be careful on how you display Samahara relative to Kisame. I know in most of the scenes he's always seen on the ground and all that, but in this one I wanted to show it more in an action scene. So this is where Kisame is swinging Samahara. I really like the details on the Samahara. Honestly, to me, the Samahara basically completes the whole figure. Honestly, this is the best part out of the whole figure. I just really like it. The details blew me away. Just look at it. He's got all the shark teeth all neatly detailed, along with the tongue and the saliva coming out of it. The details on the Samahara are really amazing. Let me know in the comments what are your thoughts. If you like what you're seeing, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Overall, the Kisame figure exceeded what I was expecting. Honestly, my experience with the Rocket Toys version of Madara, I wasn't too fully impressed with it. But this Kisame has made me change my opinion of Rocket Toys just because of how the figure is sculpted. The details are very well done. But the accessories that they gave us 3 combos of Samahara. You can have them in the full bandages. You can have them with the semi-half exposed, and then you get the full-blown version of them without the bandages and it's full beam, which is really amazing. And also for Kisame, as you can see, you have various options. They give you 3 expressions with 3 different types of headgear. You can display them with the headband, without the headband, and with the straw hat. And you're not just limited by the outfit. You could actually remove the Akatsuki cloak if you don't want them to wear it, or you can display them with it. So with that in mind, you have various options and various combos that you could use to display Kisame in your collection. And he's really amazing. Follow me on IG at Titandel86. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts on this Kisame figure. The other thing that I like is that the articles of clothing doesn't seem to be really cheap. For example, the pants are well done and well crafted. Same thing for the Akatsuki cloak. That is, the fabric is also very good on it. And same thing even for the forearm bands. The details on them are really good, and even though it's not soft material, it's somewhat of that stiffer material, but it works. The other thing that I like is that they use magnets to attach the faceplates to the rest of the head. So that makes them easy to swap in and out, so you don't have to take off the full head just to swap out the faceplate. You could easily slide it from the bottom. The one thing they could have improved would have been on the eyepieces. They gave us 6 different types of eyes. As you see in this one, and hopefully the camera can capture it, he's got like the red veins coming out of the eyes. And the other one, they give you 2 sets where the eyes are straight, and then they give you another set where the eyes are at an angle. I really didn't see the value of that, just knowing that you can't even rotate them because the eyepieces are somewhat clogged inside the holes that they go in. So if you're trying to rotate them to make them see side to side and angles and stuff, it doesn't really work. I think that's the only section where they missed the mark as far as this figure goes. But other than that, it's really good. This is all I have for you today. If you like what you have seen, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and I'll see you next week with a brand new video. Thank you and bye.
I'm Kisame Hoshigaki. Pleased to meet you after the fact.